On today's Locked On Thunder podcast, what are your hottest takes about the Oklahoma City Thunder, the NBA, and we're even going to react to your hot takes.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, media member, and beat writer for Thunder on SI, Rylan Stiles. Follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. Follow the show on Twitter at LO ThunderPod. Joining me today is Derek Parker, site publisher, editor-in-chief extraordinaire, and YouTube guru. Derek Parker at DParkOK on Twitter, DParkOK on YouTube. Derek, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. We're in the dog days of the NBA offseason. I'm going stir crazy in my house. I need the season back expeditiously, but I'm doing good.
It's so weird the stage that we're at right now because we're not quite back, but you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, we're going to have pressers in a couple of weeks. Like, it's going to be back soon. But we're just not quite there yet. So it's enough to get you excited, but still far enough away to kick down the road. But this is the last Locked On Thunder podcast. That's 3 days a week. We're back 5 days a week on Monday, all the way through August. So you can look forward to that. That's one of the telltale signs, Derek, that the NBA is almost back. We only go 3 days a week from about August till mid-September. We're back 5 days a week starting now. And Derek, we'll love to have you on as much as possible, including today. We're going to give out the hot takes about the Thunder. Listen, this Thunder season, it is the most anticipated season for sure since the OK3 season, but one of the most anticipated seasons ever in Oklahoma City. Legitimate championship aspirations. They'll be a popular pick to go to the finals. They're the West favorites according to the betting odds and according to media pundits. I know that is going to trigger Dallas Mavericks fans in the comments, because it always does. But factually, according to Vegas, who sets odds, they are the odds-on favorite to win the West. So with that, opens the door for some hot takes. And Derek, I'll let you start us out. What is your hottest take about this Thunder team?
Yeah, I've said this since the acquisitions of Caruso and Hartenstein, but I really still think that Isaiah Joe can land in that starting five. I think he's got great rapport with Shea in terms of being able to shoot the quick catch and shoot threes off of Shea's drives. I think it leaves Caruso as more of a backup point guard option. Maybe Cason Wallace isn't quite ready to step into that. Caruso is quite a bit better of a playmaker than Isaiah Joe. You still get to stagger Chet and Hartenstein. And you can bring a really, really good defensive unit off the bench in Caruso, Cason, and Hartenstein. I think we're underselling Isaiah Joe just a little bit in that starting five. Maybe he's not it. Maybe he is it on some nights, but I think we need to at least put him in the equation.
So that is a hot take. I think that we have resigned ourselves to, hey, it's Caruso, it's Hartenstein, it's one of these two guys that's going to be the starting five, along with Shea, Dub, Chet, Dort. You have 4 of the 5 figured out. How do you match up with the rest of it? That's a hot take, but I think it's one that, would you be shocked if Mark just rolls out something unexpected like that? Like, we're gearing ourselves up for 2 definitive answers, and then all of a sudden it's Isaiah Joe. I wouldn't be shocked at anything that Mark does, but it is interesting because you are going to need someone who you trust to handle some of that point guard duties off the bench. And yes, they're going to stagger Shea and J-Dub as they did last year. But last year, one of the biggest concerns outside of the front court rotation was that you needed another table setter with that secondary unit. And there's no one you would trust more than Caruso to do that. A guy who's comfortable coming off the bench and a guy who's shown a playmaking ability. Yes, you have Cason Wallace, who has that point guard background. I still think that they can tap into that, but it's not a surefire bet as much as it is for Caruso, who's done it at the NBA level. So I like this hot take because it is, yes, a hot take, but it is within the realm of possibility, Derek.
Yeah, I mean, I think Isaiah Joe is at his best when he's playing off Shea. I think Shea can sometimes be at his best when he's playing off Isaiah Joe when he has him right there on the wing. They were two of the highest in net rating in duos last season. How do you get the best out of those two players? Play them next to each other. Start them next to each other. You don't have to play them exponentially long. Maybe you bring Caruso in soon after, but I really like that duo. I think they fit really well. And then Joe plays well off the rest of them too, off Dub, off Dort, off Chet. He can hit it, spot up, hit threes off anybody. I like it. I understand it's a hot take, but that's what I'm here for.
So I don't want to give you my hottest take out of the gate. I'm going to tease you with just a mild take. Hartenstein doesn't shoot more than 33 pointers this season. Is that a hot take? Considering how
More
everybody
than 30.
like all in on his 3-point potential and his 3-point shot.
I would say it's hot because, I mean, that's so few for an 82 game season. That's like one barely every 3 games. So I would say it's a hot take. I mean, I think he's going to be wide open at least once per game, if not every other game, which is still above what you're saying. So that is a hot take. It's not one I totally disagree with. I think we're getting a little bit too high on the 3-point potential here with Hartenstein. It's never really going to be your best option in terms of shots. Like a Shea drive is always going to be better. A Chet lob is always going to be better. A Hartenstein, anything else is always going to be better. So I think in terms of like the analytics driven Thunder and Mark Daignault, are they going to want a ton of Hartenstein threes? No. But that doesn't mean he's still not going to at least try to keep defenses honest and maybe work on it. So yeah, I'm kind of towing the line between that, I guess.
So the 30 marker might be a bit low. That's what he had in LA with the Clippers. And that's what everyone pointed to as like, this guy can really shoot the basketball. But that dirty, evil Tom Thibodeau said, no more shooting for you. Listen, I think that there's going to be a balance of he's going to shoot the ball and the Thunder want to explore that. But also a large chunk of what he doesn't revolve around shooting the basketball. He's the best screen setter on the team. He can allow your guys to get downhill, which you want for J-Dub, you want for Shea, you want for these drivers that you have on this roster. And he's just able to play make out of the post. He's able to, have these hook shots and things around the rim where he's more efficient. And the Thunder really care about efficiency. So, I think that it'll be a blend of it. It's not going to be exterminated the way it was in New York, but I also don't know how much higher the gear can go than it went in LA. Now, again, the 30 marker was an extreme. He could have 40, 50, whatever, but I don't think it's going to be, now he's shooting 3 threes a night. Now he's shooting 5 threes a night. I don't think it's going to be that. And I think that there is a pocket of people who believe that there's just all of a sudden this stretch 5 going to come out of Isaiah Hartenstein.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head when you said efficiency. Like I said, it's just not going to be the most efficient shot that the Thunder can take. And when they have all these studs across the board that really rely on efficiency to push this team to wins night in and night out, they're not going to be relying on the Hartenstein 3. Is it going to be a part of the bag? Sure. Is it going to keep defenses honest? Sure. But no, it's not going to be the most efficient shot almost ever.
And so we're going to get to our hottest takes about this Thunder team. You might have already given yours. I have not given my hottest take. And I want to know your thoughts on my hottest take. And you're going to get that coming up. But as well, we're going to talk about hottest NBA takes and react to ones that you, the listeners, have sent in to us to react to. But first, I want to say right now, Derek, about our friends over at FanDuel. Check out FanDuel because, you've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book for good reason. But what you should check out is that now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then, with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season NFL game on Sunday afternoons out of market. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel at any time. So check it out today. If that's not enough for you, be sure to check out FanDuel's Profit Boost in the app to use on FanDuel's Double Your Winnings for all Sunday, September 15th. Pre-game moneyline bets. Profit Boost will be live starting on Thursday, which is September 12th. by going to your account page right now and learning about your boost. Check it out today by visiting FanDuel.com, America's #1 sports book. FanDuel.com. Make sure that you look at them for all of your needs in that department. Right now, we're embarking on another football weekend. But if you only care about the NBA, you can also throw some shekels down on the National Basketball Association already. The Thunder are 2.5-point underdogs in Denver for opening night. You can get in early if you want to at FanDuel.com over there right now. We're back on Locked On Thunder podcast, on Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you talking Thunder basketball. Check out Locked On Sooners, Locked On Pokes, and we have every other NBA team, NFL team, whatever team you're enjoying. You can check us out at Locked On, insert team name. We're here with Derek Parker at DParkOK on YouTube, Thunder on SI, Draft on SI, just everywhere in the world. Derek Parker is covering the NBA and the draft. Derek, do you have another Thunder hot take for us? Because you've already blown my socks off with the Isaiah Joe starting.
I don't, but I am extremely excited to hear what you've been teasing me with here.
So I hope that I did not oversell, underdeliver, but I believe this Thunder team will have 3 All-Stars on it this year. Like, they will make the All-Star team this year outright, not honestly, injury replacement.
I consider this myself, so I'm not like blown out of my chair here, but there was a reason I considered it and tabled it and didn't use it. So I mean, it is certainly hot. It's hot. I mean, it's interesting. There's an obvious in Shea. Now, let's throw injuries out of this, because I think injuries, obviously, we have no idea about. Shea's an All-Star, 100%. Chet, I would say he's an All-Star. In my mind, I think impact-wise, he's one of the better players in the NBA in general, especially in the West. I think he sees a statistical boost, as the Thunder have alluded to, in terms of playmaking. He's going to get more shot attempts. They're going to figure out the kind of the fusion between him and the guards. I think he's an All-Star. Dub is the tough one to kind of justify, not because Dub isn't phenomenal and not because he isn't All-Star caliber. There's just only so many spots. And when you look at Dub as your third best, or not even third best, as the third bid versus a team who has one guy maybe shouldering the load, it's really tough to just justify his bid to the All-Star team. So how do you get your way around it? I don't really know.
So I think that when you look at this team, I'm very confident that they'll be the best team in the West, record-wise, in the regular season.
I'm with you.
They're gonna care more than anybody. They're gonna play more than anybody, and they're just deeper than anybody. They're more talented. I mean, they check all the boxes. And so, granting the Thunder that, and then looking at this of, okay, we sat back here all season last year while the Thunder were riding high and winning 57 games. We pointed to a starting lineup that, despite being a +7, at times +12, whatever they finished up as a starting 5, we pointed to, that's your problem. It is too hard for Chet, for J-Dub, for Shea to navigate playing next to someone who's being completely ignored offensively. Well, no matter who the answer is, if it's your Isaiah Joe answer, if it's Isaiah Hartenstein, if it's Alex Caruso, no matter who the answer is, Cason Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, I don't care who it is, that team gets better. And that's not a criticism wholly of Josh Giddey like it sounds. It's more so just they fit together easier. The process for you to succeed is simpler. You're not having to see someone be just totally ignored and cram in and kind of deter what these other 3 guys are trying to accomplish. So Shea is a shoe-in lock. Can you get those other 2 in? Well, I think that Chet has a huge case positionally whenever you look at the Western Conference bigs, and also he has a higher chance to catch your eye on both ends of the floor. Not to say that J-Dub's not a good defender, but it's louder, it's more impactful with what Chet does on both ends. So if J-Dub takes the step of the second best scorer on this roster, sharpied in exclamation point at the end of it, now you're talking about this 3-headed monster whose life's easier and thus more productive. if they go to the 1 seed and now they're starting 5, which is largely on these 3 guys, is a plus 15 or something crazy, something nuclear, which it could be, then these guys are for sure all-stars. And so I think that it's a hot take. It's something that the odds would say won't happen because it's extremely hard for it to pull off. But goodness, I think it can happen. It's like I think that this team will have 3 all-stars on it.
I think where I kind of, and I get it, I get all that. Like I said, I consider this as one of my hot takes. I think it's certainly possible. You know, we've seen the Thunder teams of old roll out this many premier all-star players at once. I think where I kind of get lost is, okay, you lose Josh Giddey, you lose a starter in him who did 13, 7, 6, whatever he did. You get Caruso for him 1-for-1, probably not a complete statistical overlap, but pretty close. And then you add Hartenstein for free. I mean, free, obviously there's the $30 million, yada, yada, but you get him for free in terms of giving up assets. So that's a lot of added production. And it's always this case, but all-star bids are not necessarily always about, are they all-star caliber? It's about the production. And I have a hard time wrapping my head around them having the production, the stats on paper to get it done. But I don't think that takes away from the fact that they're going to have 3 all-star caliber players next season, which is the important part. Of course, you want Chet to get the bid. You want Dub to get the bid. You want that for them. But at the same time, if they're winning 50, maybe 60 games, they're competing for the finals, like, you take those and you move on as long as you have the 3 guys.
Yeah, and it doesn't really matter who's in the All-Star game. The All-Star weekend has never been more, on the back burner than it is right now in the NBA ecosystem. But I project that they'll get better points per game wise statistically. Like I think that they'll get better with the eye test. I think that they're going to get better with the production level statistical test. I think that they're going to get better with how they're being talked about. Everyone is going to be caught up now on what the Thunder are, what the Thunder do, and almost appreciating it for the first time, because like you look back of last year and like how the voters and how everyone within the NBA, the decision makers about the All-Star game, which is a combination of fans, coaches, media, whatever. It took Shea multiple years of playing at an all-star level to get in there, largely because everyone just kind of fell on the same crutch of like with Shea that they fell on with what they did last year. Like last year, nobody really watched this Thunder team until the playoffs, because you can tell that with how they talked about the Thunder team. Like they were completely wrong about how the Thunder were playing, how the Thunder were executing and everything else, because they weren't watching it. They were just saying, well, we know that they're young. We know that they're a fun little story, but that's cute. Pat them on the head a little bit and carry on with the regular season. And then they got to the postseason and they had no idea how to talk about the Thunder. This year, you're going to be watching the Thunder from opening night on. And so like it's going to allow you to appreciate things that we've already seen from Chet and J-Dub. Those of you that are listening to a Locked On Thunder podcast on September 13th, you've already seen it. You've already appreciated it. It'll be the first time for a lot of these people making these decisions and thus catapulting them into that sphere. On top of an improvement statistically from both these guys, I believe that will happen. So that's my hot take for the Thunder, the hottest that I have. You've emptied the clip with just the Isaiah Joe starter take. What is your hottest take around the NBA? Just anything that you're feeling that you like. I can't believe people cannot see this about this team.
Yeah, I mentioned this last time, so we can dish on it more here. I want to get you back into this. I continue to assert that the Suns are a contender in the West and for the NBA Finals. I think they have, when you look at them straight across to other contenders, they have a top 5 player. Kevin Durant is, if he's not 5th, he's riding that line. He's an all-timer. He's still playing at an all-time level. They have Devin Booker, who honestly pretty underrated as far as like A to B rankings go. Like we just saw in the Olympics, massive, massive impact, and he can do it off ball, which is great. They've got Bradley Beal, who, okay, aging veteran, maybe not worth the contract, but a good player in terms of your 3rd best player. And then I think they've had an offseason. Honestly, they had a decent draft in Ryan Dunn, Oso Iguodaro. Those are guys who, I mean, in terms of the pick they had, they're going to be able to at least impact it a little bit defensively. Oso's got the push shot. He's got some interesting stuff. And then you add, who's the point guard they added? Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones, I think, is a phenomenal add. He's a guy who's going to be able to come in, get you minutes immediately. He's a table setter, something they really, really needed. I like the Suns. I'm not counting them out. I know they're down and out of the count in terms of the media right now. They're not getting the love, but I like the Suns.
I love the Suns. Me and Joel have debated the Suns. I love the Suns. I think that they're a dark horse. I love the new coach. I love Tyus Jones. Not in love with Ryan Dunn. I'm not a Ryan Dunn guy. I'm not going to pretend to be a Ryan Dunn guy. But for this team specifically, maybe that's all they need is a defender who can just exist.
That's it. Yeah, defend.
Yeah, just defend. I wonder if there's an avenue, and this is going to be tough, and maybe this is just living in fantasy land, where you bring Beal off the bench. Of, hey, we've got a lot of redundancy of scoring in the starting five, but if we can get Beal as Wizards Beal off the bench, and he carries that load and shoulders that burden, and then you have Booker and Durant and Tyus in the starting five. Man, I mean that's a fun team. That's a fun way to blanket 48 minutes. It'll never happen. You don't pay those kind of guys that, and that their reputations are such that I don't think that they'd want to come off the bench, any of them. But it'd be fun if it did happen. I think that there's avenues for this. Maybe it's not literally on the bench, but it's, kind of a Chris Paul, James Harden situation where like you're just staggering them almost immediately after tip off. So like, yeah, they got to do the pomp and circumstances of the PA announcer and the tunnel run out and stuff, but ultimately you're staggering them so much that it's like one of them came off the bench. So I think that you can do that with Booker. I mean, I'm sorry, with Beal in this season, perhaps, and that would make them better. My hottest NBA take. It's tough because if you would have asked me this question like 2 months ago, it would have been, Memphis was going to be this high-powered team in the West. Then people caught on to Memphis and like, yeah, Memphis is going to be great. Yeah. And now it feels like we're back down on Memphis. Like it feels like I don't really know where the perception has landed on Memphis, but I hold true. I think Memphis will be a top 5 seed in the West.
Oh, I want to say we talked about this last time too. I don't know if I can get there with Memphis. There's too much roster turnover in general. If this were 2K, which obviously we should be comparing everything to 2K, it's a tried and true method for determining NBA success. Their team chemistry right now is at like 10%. It's not good because not that any of these players dislike each other. They just haven't played together. They got a rookie who's potentially going to start.
Jaren Jackson Jr. Did you see him teasing that Edie can shoot? What if Edie can shoot?
Oh, if Edie shoots 3-pointers this year, I'll do. If he shoots 35% or more on decent volume, I'll do a 2-week span of Locked On Thunder. Every day I'll join you for Locked On Thunder. There's no way he's going to be able to shoot the ball at a high rate. I don't know. I just can't get there with Memphis yet. I think they're a good team. I think they have great pieces. I think everything people are saying right now about Memphis, I could get to next year. I got to give it a year. I can't get there right now.
No, and that's totally fair. I think that people have cooled off on their Memphis love compared to where it was immediately after the aftermath of the offseason. So in that way, it's still a hot take. So I'll still live with I think Memphis will be a top 5 team in the West. And I wanted to go home court advantage team, but I won't do that.
Can you walk me through who that is? So obviously the Thunder are there.
Yeah, for me, it's the Thunder.
Let's count the Grizzlies. So you need 3 more. Who are we ousting here out of Denver?
Whoa.
Minnesota.
Whoa. Top five it's going to be OKC, Minnesota, Dallas, Denver, Memphis.
So we're taking the Lakers out. We're taking the Warriors out. We're taking the Kings out of there.
You haven't listed anyone but playing teams yet. Yeah, go ahead. Take them out.
The Clippers.
Playing team. They're gone. And they're terrible. I mean, I think that what you're coming down to is like, do you believe that the Suns will be better than them in the regular season? The Pelicans can be better than them in the regular season. Like there's teams that could do it. And like really you're taking out the Clippers because they were the 4-5 with the Mavs. And I just don't think that they got worse. A lot worse this summer. And a lot more question marks that you don't trust with the Clippers. So you push them down and you elevate someone, and I elevated Memphis, and you could prefer to elevate Phoenix or elevate, it's tough pickings at that point. That's where like the 5th spot gets open.
Are we sure? Or I mean, I guess, am I sure that the Grizzlies are even better than the Spurs? I don't know.
Okay, what are we
I look
doing?
at the
What are we
Spurs.
doing, Derek?
You got B-ball Paul at the point guard spot. You got Vassell,
He's
solid player.
50 years old.
Keldon Johnson, solid player. Wembanyama, the next coming of Christ himself. I don't know. I like the Spurs. I think they're going to be a better ball club than people
The
think.
Spurs are spunky. The Spurs are spunky. They're fun.
See, that's how I feel about the
spontaneous.
Grizz. The Grizz
They
are spunky.
They can be a team that can get in the play-in. But if you want to talk about point guards, I've got John Morant.
Okay.
John
but
Morant,
John
Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson Jr. Gigi Jackson?
He's out. He's done.
Zach Edey?
Hurt.
He is hurt, but he's done. But
I don't know. I think the
Edey?
Spurs are
Luke
spunkier than
Kennard stroking that thing? Are you kidding me?
People sleep on the Spurs. Maybe that's my hot take. The Spurs.
Well, what does that mean, though? It's like the Spurs could be a near play-in team if they wanted to. That'd be pretty stupid. You should just tank at that point. Do you think that they can get to the play-in?
That is it. I think they will be the top play-in team. Is that
They're the 7 seed?
okay? No. Sorry. 9.
Oh, they're
9.
the 9 seed.
I think they're the 9. First out is what I mean.
They're the 9 seed.
I think they're the 9 seed.
So they have 2 chances to make the playoffs. The 8-9 game, and then if they lose, they play the 10 or whatever.
I can see it right now in my mind's eye.
Oh,
They
no.
come out-
Sorry. They play the 9-10 game. I'm an idiot. But yeah,
Yeah,
they only have 1 chance to make it. But nonetheless, you think that they're going to make the play-in?
Yeah. And I think they could make the playoffs if things fall their way. Maybe 8 seed, but that remains to be seen. This is a hot take show. This is what we're doing here.
It's a hot take show, but you're just buying into Chris Paul becoming.
I think Chris Paul is way better than people give him credit for right now. I think the Warriors did not maximize him in the slightest. I think he's still got some in the tank, and I think he's going to show that alongside Vic Wemby. I don't know. I'm not there with the Grizz. I'm a Spurs truther right now.
That's just shocking to me. I think that you're right on the Spurs. I just don't think that discredits the Grizz. I think the Spurs can be a play-in spunky little team. But here's the thing with why I don't put the Spurs in. I like the Spurs. I love Harrison Ingram. I'm a Harrison Ingram guy. Shout out Draft Digest. I wrote about him a ton.
Yeah.
But then where does that leave Houston? Like, where does that leave
Houston's tough.
the Clippers? Where does that leave the Lakers, the Warriors, the Pelicans, the Kings? Someone's got to be disappointed. And the easiest team to say is disappointed right now, it would be the team of the least consequence. Because for the Spurs, if you just don't pick them to go to the play-in, they can still have a very successful year and not make the play-in. For these other teams, not making the play-in, I mean, it's like a disaster.
Yeah, I agree. But, I mean, we see it year in and year out. There's disasters in the NBA.
We do.
The Lakers are a few ACLs away. I mean, the Clippers are an ACL away. Like, and obviously you hope that doesn't happen, but there's disasters constantly. And I don't know, maybe the Spurs sneak by you.
Maybe they do. Coming up, we're going to react to your hot takes. But first, I want to say right now, about our good friends over at BetterHelp. Check out BetterHelp today because they're awesome. And I think BetterHelp is great because when you look at therapy, one thing that stops a lot of people, at least for me, it stops me, is that I think I could benefit from therapy, but I just cannot find the time to go to an actual building and drive there and find a therapist locally and do all of that, process. That's where BetterHelp comes in, because BetterHelp gives you licensed therapists and you get all the benefit from therapy. But here it is, entirely online and entirely suited around your schedule, day or night, whatever you need from BetterHelp, they have it for you. It's very convenient. It's very flexible. It is entirely suited around your schedule and designed for you. You fill out this brief questionnaire and it matches you with a licensed therapist. If you guys match instantly, great, keep it going. If not, you can switch therapists at any time at no additional charge until you find the right one for you. You can rediscover and yourself and rediscover your curiosity and find all the benefits of therapy by going to BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/LockedInNBA today. 10% off of your first month at BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. We're back on the Lockdown Thunder podcast, on the Lockdown Podcast Network, your teams every day. Here with Derek Parker at DParkOK on Twitter and YouTube, and of Draft on SI, Thunder on SI, and everything basketball related. Check out Locked On Pokes, Locked On Sooners, and every other Locked On podcast that there is. Derek, we're going to react to some hot takes. Because, I mean, the Spurs getting in there is fun. I think that we have a lot of fun takes between ourselves. First one comes from our guy, Nick Crane, at Crane NBA. Nick Crane has the best jumper on the beat. This is not a hot take to me. This is a scorching take. Like, Brandon Rabar is on the beat. Like, Brandon is the best shooter. He could shoot 40% in the NBA.
Okay, are we talking percentage-wise, or are we talking like the smoothest-looking jumper? Because if we're talking mechanically,
that's a good point.
Nick might be up there for sure. But percentage-wise, I mean, Rabar, bar none. No pun intended. I mean, yes, it's not even close.
Total pun intended. Don't even try that. But, I'll concede that. Leave it to DP to defend and see. But Nick, smooth.
He's high rising.
The best way to describe Nick Crane is aura. Nick Crane has aura. It's smooth. It's just this new money, brash, fun, loving guy. Like whenever he's on the court. So and when he's everywhere in life. So with Crane, he has the best looking almost everything. I mean, Adam Francisco has to be the top guy in all those categories, but Nick Crane's right there. So
well, the thing about Nick is the hair staying perfectly intact when he goes for the high rising jumper. I mean, how do you compete with that?
His shot physically looks better than Brandon's. Brandon's goes in at a higher clip.
Yeah, which is what you want, honestly.
Which is what you want, which is all I care about.
Yeah.
So agree there on two different fronts for Nick. Hippo Dresser says the BOK Center is still in Tulsa, even though the NBA PR seems to think it's in Birmingham. Scorching hot take. I mean, obviously it's in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, learn your geography, buddy.
What I think happened is that like they had some sort of like, whenever you're filling out forms that says like where are you from and then it defaults to Alabama.
Oh, it's the
first
top
city in
one.
Alabama is Birmingham probably because it's B. So it probably just was like, all right, this place is in Tulsa. All right, city, it's the BOK Center. It's in city. Oh crap, we left it blank, and so it defaulted to Birmingham. Alabama. What a time. But Colbert 9 says Chet will average 22 points per game.
I don't think that's too hot. I kind of like it. 22. Do we think that's high?
I don't think it's too high. I think on a spicy scale of 1 to 5, which is what we can grade these on, I'd give it a 3.
That's what I had. I was holding it up. I was keeping it right here holstered.
I'm looking at Twitter. I was not seeing your fingers.
Yeah, no, I agree. I almost lean that's what it's going to be. Maybe like high 21s, 21.7.
Now, his next hot take is a former All-Star will take the last roster spot to chase a ring. It's going to be for me a 4.5, just because who is that? Like who could you realistically see the Thunder wanting to bring in? And
he's saying the Thunder add a former All-Star?
Yes.
Oh.
A former All-Star will want the last Thunder roster spot to chase a ring. And it's like, who's out there that's a former All-Star to chase a ring? And who would the Thunder want? That combination is really hard to find, so that's why I give it a 4.5.
Yeah, I can't see it, but again, that's more due to like the pickings that are out there on the market.
And maybe this comes in the buyout form, and we don't know who's out there yet. It comes after the deadline.
Maybe it's Gordon Hayward. Maybe he comes back.
Maybe it is. He says, Derek, he's got a lot of juice left. A lot of it left.
Didn't he officially retire? He's done, right?
He's got a lot left in the tank. The retirement was just a facade.
Had the juice. Week 2. I'm done. I give up.
Yeah. I'll tell you what it was. His gas meter was broken. You ever had a car like that? I had a 1997 Toyota Corolla. White. Not good. Gas meter could tell you it's full. Next thing you know, you're calling AAA. Hey, I'm out of gas. That's what it was for Hayward. He thought he had all this gas in the world. He passes one fart, and all of a sudden he's out. So I think that Hayward, he was kind of done. But nonetheless, Bolgi says OKC goes 8-2-0 in the regular season and 16-0 in the playoffs. 5 hot take, extremely hot take.
I mean, I can get there. I think I can get there.
They're going to lose one game. Let's be real. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Put the childish games behind you. They're going to lose a game. 81-1. and then they're going to go 15-1 and win the playoffs or whatever. Smokey Barra says, I think Oos will crack the bench rotation this season.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a solid 4.2. And I'm an Oos guy. I love Oos. I love the G. But that's tough to do.
Things stand now, that's going to be tough. I mean, we're looking at the second best rotation in the NBA. We're also looking at a guy who in summer league play still didn't look ready in year 3. So yeah, I think 4, maybe 4.5, very solid.
Now let's do one more hot take. There's still some more to get to that we'll get to at a later time, but this one ties into what we started the show with. So we're going to book in the show at starting lineup questions. Sam Ibra says Aaron Wiggins takes Josh Giddey's starting spot. Remember the stats of like, hey, the Thunder are like undefeated with Wiggins in the starting 5 and everything. I think that's a extremely hot take. I would personally love it. I'm like one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Wiggins supporter out there. But yeah, I don't think it'll happen. So I'll go 4.1 just because Mark is a madman. You can't count anything out.
Is it going to happen some? 100%. I bet it happens at least once, maybe. Actually, I don't know because I
would take it 5 games. I think that almost every injury, it's Wiggins that plays, because when you look at the starting 5, what position can he not fill in for aside from center? He can just make it work with anybody. So like if you're starting Caruso, you can slide Caruso to the 1. If it's Shea that gets hurt, Caruso to the 1, Wiggins at the 2, and on down the line. So I think that'll start like 4 or 5 games because he's just so versatile.
The only thing that throws a hitch in this is the potential leap from Cason Wallace, because Cason Wallace can pretty much do that as well. And at this point is probably higher on the theoretical depth chart. So it's like Cason is probably the priority here. And I think he's personally going to be a stud. He's already good. I think he's going to grow even more. So I don't know. Cason throws a wrench in those plans for me, but we'll see.
Derek, we almost did it. 7 minutes over. Gosh, dang it. But we're getting close. Derek, give me your what you're working on, what we can expect from you, and we'll get out of here.
Yeah, so still doing a few things over at YouTube. Again, dog days of the NBA offseason. It's tough goings right now, but still got a few things popping up here and there. A little bit of draft, a little bit of 2K. I'm really bad at it, but playing a little bit of 2K, that's been fun. And then, yeah, writing. Thunder on SI, Rockets on SI, Nets on SI, Pokes on SI, and NBA draft on SI. All of those, go check them out. That's what I got cooking right now.
Check it out. Check us out. Thunder on SI. Find me on Locked on Thunder, where we're 5 days a week, starting on Monday again, all the way through August. And so until next time, be good and be good to one another.